Welcome, Let's Active, to New York City. Maybe first we should introduce the members so we can get the voices. Let's Active.
There is Sara.
To my right, probably to the listener's left,
She plays
depending on how your speakers
drum.
are set up.
I'm Mitch. I play guitar.
I'm Faye. I'm on bass. And other things.
How'd the band get together?
Well, we just, Faye and I wanted to have a band that season. I hadn't been in a band for a while, and the season that the group got started, we were really talking about it a lot. And so then we saw Sara play drums, and I talked to her, and she had heard of me and heard my tape and liked it and stuff. So we finally got together and played, and then we kept playing. I wasn't playing in a group, but I wanted to be. And so I really hadn't been in a band for about a year when this one got going. And Faye hadn't been in a band ever before this group, and Sara was in a band back then.
Did the band come about mostly in the studio, seeing that you had the studio to work in? Did the band develop a lot of through recording rather than live playing, or was it opposite?
No, what happened is, you want to tell it? No. The first, we got together and practiced once, and Jefferson, the manager for REM, called up and said, "We're playing in a couple weeks, y'all want to open for us?" And so it was live from then on, and in 2 weeks we played our first job. And
was this after you had produced the REM tracks, Mitch?
Yeah, we'd done the single in April of '81, and then this was like October '81. They were recording what turned out to be Chronic Town, and that's when we all got together. That's when we got the invitation from them to open for them and everything. So I knew them, and they had a lot to do with us getting started.
So they were instrumental basically in the band forming. So you cut your chops really in a live situation.
Yeah, that's true. And although we did learn all our songs in the studio, that's just because the studio was also the garage where we had to practice, and we didn't, make use of the studio at all. And we still don't have very much on tape. We really don't. We just have what's on the record and a few other tracks that we did.
Now, tell me a little bit about recording the album. You had played out for about how long before you went into the studio?
Let's see. We did that stuff mostly in March of '82. But some of the stuff that's on that record, like the song "Leader of Men," was recorded the summer before, like July '82. And so the band was just 6 months old then. "Leader of Men" has got an Aaron Copland record section made into a loop and then keyed to the snare drum, and that's the sort of orchestral noise that comes in and out on that.
You were basically producing yourselves. I mean, you had been in the studio as a producer, working with other bands. How is it different for you, Mitch, who'd been in there with a producer with other people? I mean, it must have been a fairly natural transition for you to produce yourself, or did it raise any problems?
The only reason why I've ever gotten known as a producer is just because I've made tapes myself and just know how to use tape machines and stuff. And so it's just a lot easier when you don't have to argue with anybody, since it was just, me to argue with, and I don't let them say anything. So I mean, we just...
us drugged over in the corner.
So it really is easy because, we know what we want.
He has a couch, we just sleep on it, and we get up. Is it done yet?
It really is true. I think Faye probably should be the one that's famous as being a producer, and I'm really serious about it because things that are like production ideas really come to her mind. And this record was not really produced by me at all, much less so than other things that I've done. I mean, everybody really did have their little say, and even though I went back and erased what they did, they really did work on it as much as anybody.
Yeah.
We really did try to make this record pretty simple. I mean, most of the
tell.
demo tapes that we've got are sort of more dense sounding, and we thought for a record like this. And we didn't know it was going to be the record or anything, but in the past, the big problem was always that everybody thought the stuff was confusing, so we thought if we left out lots, that it wouldn't seem so confusing. And so what came out is the kind of simple versions.
There still are a lot of, those little production touches that, say you've come to be known for. I hear it's sort of like almost like a big star kind of influence in a lot of the way the vocals are recorded and a lot of the sort of the compressed kind of production.
Well, that's good. But we weren't thinking about anything in particular.
You weren't thinking about anybody else or any influences when you go in there?
I think that's just sort of in there. I mean, people ask us about influences all the time, and we just can't say because it's, when you're as old as we are, there's so many, and I don't think it's any particular thing coming through.
What do you have lined up next as far as recorded material goes?
We've got all these fabulous new songs that we have to record, but I don't know when we'll do it. Probably the spring or something. And we're just not ending our tremendously hectic touring schedule, and now it's time we're going to get to practice and learn new songs and stuff. So I think we'll record some stuff in the spring and have a record out in the fall.
How many songs do you have in your live set now?
I don't know. It's less all the time. We can't figure out where they go. I mean,
We keep getting sick of them.
we used to
throwing
play
out.
2 sets, and now we can barely play 1.
In the few days he's had off. Well, Sara and I have written in the few days we've had off quite a bundle of songs. Mitch has written 4, I think, songs. We've only gotten a chance to have him home to really work on 2 of them, add them back in. But since we came back from tour a couple weeks ago, he's written 4. But he's been recording the REM record, and so he's only been home 2 days or something, you know.
Give me a little free association. What comes to your mind when you think about these particular songs? I said before I thought the first side was dealing more with love and emotion. The second side was a little more social and political. Is that fair to say, or just a coincidence?
I guess it's fair to say, since that Leader of Men song is on the second side. Now, I was really thinking about South American military dictatorships, but it isn't very specific, so, you know.
That's truth.
Every word means no.
Usually.
Brill building.
Is that about rejections in the music business rather than rejections
No,
emotionally?
If I ever write a song about the music business, I hope somebody will come and kill me immediately. I hate songs about music, you know, like Mac Davis writes, and my big goal is to never write one about the music business.
Or
even-
being on the road.
Yeah, or how pitiful we are, or any of that
Isn't
kind of
it,
crap.
too?
What would you say are the major subjects of your songs if you had to sum it up?
Well, most of those are they're pretty brill building, but, you know, I hope they... I'd rather say brill building than boy, girl, or anything like that.
Do you write from personal experience, or do you write third person?
No, this is fiction. In Atlantic Magazine, they had an article about Japan and how they like to say English
Lots of
phrases over there.
T-shirts and
And the writer saw a shirt that said "Let's Active" on it, and printed it as an example of how they like to use English, but they just get these. They translate things directly or something, and they don't make sense.
And we saw it and thought, isn't that cute? And unfortunately, we had to play in 2 weeks, and then we got stuck with it forever. But it's sort of like, but see, no, because in our new approach of aiming toward that Led Zeppelin sound, Led Zeppelin, Let's Active, Led Zeppelin, Let's Active, Let's Active.
So we thought.
So the next record is going to be Led's Active.
Do you have any covers in the set now?
Well, a very sensitive act that we've thought about a lot lately, the Trogs, and we're doing a couple of their numbers.
The better known ones, like Wild Thing? Or...
No, we don't do that. We do Give It to Me, and which is a particularly sensitive number.
Because Mitch thinks about these things.
And you know, it really is true that a lot of the songs that I want to cover are real lewd, and I didn't realize that until lately. But like, there's this song by Slade called "Sweet Box" that we all really like, and I never
sounded
thought about
like
the words.
Chris
Boy,
Damon,
it's sure
yeah.
embarrassing.
You are the Henry Miller of
And so
The
Yeah,
real Henry Miller.
once we read that
rock and
article,
roll.
we decided-
Please stand up.
so now we're just going to do 1, 2, 3, red light and stuff like that.
We have an Outskirts song. They're a little group that disappeared real fast. And we thought if we did it, maybe we'd disappear real fast. It's called Blue Line.
What was that thing in the biography about the number 13? That
all true.
It's just strange but true, it really.
except for 4 of the facts.
Yeah, well.
Well,
What is it about 13? The name Let's Active doesn't have 13 letters. I noticed
Wait a
that.
minute.
Right.
but Drive-In Studio does. No.
North Carolina does.
North
Miles
Carolina
Copeland does.
Miles Copeland does. Our names all together.
Altamare does.
Keith Altamare. They're very important. Faye, Mitch, Sara does. We played the first time ever on Friday the 13th and knew 13 songs.
And it was the 13th time we'd played together. And, well, Faye just discovered that one day.
And me and Sara are both born on the 13th.
On the 13th of the month?
Mm-hmm. And North Carolina's the 13th state.
Do you guys believe in things like that?
And we're 13 years old, collectively.
Mitch, are you working on the new REM record right now?
Yes, along with
What?
famed producer Don Dixon.
Are you doing it at drive-in or elsewhere?
No, we're doing it at a professional studio, or a Reflection studio in Charlotte, which is where we did Murmur. And at the end of it all, for a treat, we might come up to my place and do some sort of live stuff. But so some of the album may turn out to be done at my place, but mostly it's in Charlotte.
What can we expect from this album? Are they sticking to the patented REM sound with those thick guitars, or is it?
The guitars are thicker this time around.
Sounds really good.
Yeah.
This is more of a rock record than the previous one, I think. This is more like Led Zeppelin
It's
2.
more alive. You know what I mean? The other one was
The thing is,
sit around at home alone and enjoy it and be kind of moody record. And this one, I think, is more, right? Don't you?
Yeah, last time I personally thought that we were supposed to deliver more of a Thompson Twins record. I mean, this real studio slick record. And this time around, we've been, that didn't happen. And this time around, we've been bent to the REM way of thinking a little more, which is to do it more like they really are, And I also think it's right for the songs. I mean, this one is going to be, this is just more of a rock record, I think. And the other one's more well, the other one's more sort of thoughtful, the songs. And these songs are more get down songs, I think.
Not thoughtful.
Do you understand what they're singing about?
Oh yeah, can't you tell? I mean, it's so obvious what those words are. And this new album has got some of the loudest vocals ever recorded. I mean, people that say that Michael's been buried can rejoice because he's
still alive.
He's really on top of the heap this time.
So we're going to hear some actual words on this record that we may be able to make sense of.
You always could, but you have to get used to his voice, and then you start realizing it's just the way he pronounces things, and you'll go back and listen to the old ones and know every word.
I mean, some of the stuff is so much like a Kenny Rogers record that you just can't. I mean, there's no way people can miss the words on this one.
Kenny lives in Athens too, and they collaborate a lot.
Did you work with a lyric sheet when you recorded them the first time? Did you know what they were singing about?
Well, whenever we record the voice, we usually listen to it real loud, so I could always hear him real well. And if I couldn't ever tell what he was saying, and I saw it written down, then it was always what it really sounded like. I mean, you had to get used to the sort of syntax that was there too. But no, I never, looked at the words or anything, but I just could usually tell what they were. I mean, not like some people when they're recording vocals think they have to read the words too to make sure they're coming across, which I never did that. But when they did Murmur, he had these nice typewritten lyrics that he had on a music stand when he did all the vocals, so they really do have words. And
the vocals were not consciously buried then on the first album.
No, and whenever I hear that Chronic Town record now, for example, the song Wolves seems to have a really loud vocal on it. So, I mean, people have actually asked me what kind of device we used to make him sound like that, but that's just how he sounds.
And for real collectors, when they came in and did the first Radio Free Europe a long time ago, he left the sheet of paper that had the lyrics written on it, and we have it for a price.
And it'll be at Sotheby's this fall.
In recording your own album there. In recording your own album there, Mitch, I heard that as a youngster you ran your own radio station in North Carolina, WILD. Yeah. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Well, I just had this Heathkit AM transmitter, and we had a bunch of records, and we went on the air, and we're real excited about it. Me and this guy named Doug Muir, who is also the guy I was in a group with for the very first time. But then we went out one day with the transistor radio to find out what kind of range we had, and it turned out it didn't go to the end of the block, which we didn't realize, and we were kind of discouraged, and the station kind of wound down after that and wasn't on the air all the time.
You had 2 loyal listeners.
Yeah, us. And what we do is we tape the shows and listen to them back, and just thought, yeah, boy, that was really great.
What'd you play?
And nobody listened to it. Well, I think we had Beatles 65 and Dave Clark 5 on tour, and I think we sort of alternated between them.
They knew they had hit when an independent promo man from Winston-Salem came by. Radio's just not the same anymore.
It's not. And you could go in and get those charts printed up that would have a picture of the DJs with stars around their heads, and everybody knew who they were and all.
Have you seen yourself on MTV yet?
Well, let's see. Right before we left, we saw it about 85 times. We saw it on The Cutting Edge and taped it, and we've been looking at it every day since then.
We haven't seen it as part of their real, rock programming. Yeah, but the thing that's on MTV is just like a shindig-looking thing of us standing there with guitars and drums and little puppies.
And puppies.
Puppies?
You didn't see it? You didn't see it?
Well, they said, you gotta have an angle, so we thought of dogs. and so we thought they'd bring these dogs in.
We said, you dogs. Oh, and then we said, dogs.
And we thought that might wake us up, and what happened is they came in with these tiny baby puppies that had been born earlier that morning, and they just wanted to sleep, and we didn't know what to do with them at all.
We were going to get little puppies that were jumping around, like they liked the music.
It's so Hollywood, the boy, the girl, the dog.
Yeah.
And then the
That's
car comes and runs over the dog. Oh, God. Oh, this gives a good chance to explain your recent return to psychedelic clothing, not because we're a psychedelic revival band, but because they were clothes that Mitch owned in 1969, and he realized that he still fit in them.
So
It's true.
we last two.
He
Well,
wants everybody to know.
we played the other night and Faye wore bell bottoms, but they just looked real good, We decided to do it, and we really don't have anything to do with those psychedelic revival bands. And
No, not anything to do with them.
You don't take LSD before you compose or perform.
not anymore.
Just
No. No, we don't take LSD.
Nat, though.
We eat fried pies and that's about it. And we don't, but no, we really don't think about the clothes too much and all that. But I mean, I think
But we do wear them.
we do wear them, and it's also just as much of an image, sort of, to be one of those, Allman Brothers sort of bands too, and insist on wearing the clothes you just worked on your motorcycle in. I mean, that's equally ridiculous. Actually, we are all very influenced by Led
Doris
Zeppelin at
Day.
the moment. We've decided, besides Doris Day, we've decided that Led Zeppelin records are really cool and
Now,
really
this
sound
is a
good.
serious answer.
Can we look forward to covers of Whole Lotta Love and maybe Stairway for Heaven?
Well,
in this
I think
No,
we
we
can
really
all-
like Cashmere and.
We doubt we can do covers justice, but the way those records sound is really inspirational. They really do sound cool.
They weren't a heavy metal band. They were just a band.
They're really up-to-date records. I mean, the way they have a lot of like room drum sounds and stuff that everybody's doing now.
And IRS is not going to drop us.
What kind of girls does Mitch attract on the road?
Girls? Oh, well, we just slap them out of the way. He doesn't get a chance. Any girls come in there, get lost.
You take good care of
We
him then.
take care of him. We got to protect this boy.
Is Mitch Easter a virgin?
They wouldn't know.
We'll answer that in the next record.